Restore Thrive, we're back. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're going to talk about hip mobility as it relates to the hip hinge. And what we're talking about here is that classic deadlift, fold forward, pick something up off the floor position that we all get into. And what we see as a limiting factor here a lot of times is the back of the hip. And if we don't have that mobility through the back of the hip, we give up that good spine position, and as soon as I start to look like a turtle, now I'm loading my discs, I'm loading those ligaments in my back, and I'm exposing myself to a much higher risk of injury in my low back if I'm picking something up off the floor. So what we're going to do is we're going to mobilize you in that point of restriction. So if we feel that a little bit of stiffness when we bend forward, the only way we're going to work through that is if we mobilize at that point of restriction. So we're going to do a little bit different mobilization here. Instead of getting on the floor, we're going to use our band, but we're going to get a little higher. We're going to anchor this right around hip level. Mine's a little low. We'll get it up a little bit more. We'll get into a little forward split stance position. The leg that I'm mobilizing is going to be behind me. My front leg, I'm going to bend a little bit, and I'm going to fold from my hips and try to get my hands on the floor. I don't have to get my palms all the way down to the floor necessarily. If I feel any sort of pull through the back of my knee, I'm going to let my heel up and let my knee bend on the back leg. Again, there's no muscle tissue right behind your knee. There's nerve tissue there. That sciatic nerve that branches down into your leg will give you a sign of pulling or stretching there, but we don't want to just hold that position. So we're going to floss this position, which means I'm going to try to drive my back heel back, straighten my knee, and then come off tension, and then drive back again. And I'm just going to work back and forth. The standard prescription is about 20 to 30 reps back and forth here. So I'm just going to keep pumping. And as I do this, especially when I straighten out, I can squeeze my quad here, which tells my nervous system it's all right to get into this position. I don't have to tighten up or be afraid of this position because I have that muscle activation on the front side. And I'm just going to keep pumping back and forth. Get about 5 more here. And then come off tension, come out of the band. And as always, if we're going to spend some time mobilizing, we want to see have we created some change on the back end. So the retest, standing position, fold forward, and it feels like I can stay a little bit straighter and fold on this side with my left side. My knee's still a little bent, and if I try to straighten it, I feel that tension, so I probably need to mobilize on the other side. Now, if you have a hard time folding that far forward, what we can do is we can bring in a chair, a bench, something like that, and we'll do the same thing. We'll get the band up around the front of your hip. We'll come forward, but we won't bend forward quite as much. This allows us, if we're really stiff through our hip or through our low back, to keep ourselves a little more organized through our midsection, keep our head up a little higher, and it's the same floss back and forth. And what we'll find is this is an easier spot to start for some folks, and then from here, we can lower that base of support until we get to the floor. So that's the basic prescription. Again, if we feel any sort of stiffness through the hips, through the back of the leg, especially through the low back, with that forward bend, let's work on that posterior hip mobility and see if we can make a change for the better. We'll talk to you guys again soon.